Hello, my name is attorney Justin Camper, and I want to talk to you about an issue that I deal with a lot from my clients, and I hope that this information will be extremely helpful for you. The question is, how do you deal with racism in the criminal justice system when it comes down to a cop, a prosecutor, and a judge? Let's talk about it. So how do you deal with racism in the criminal justice system? And we're gonna break it down, right? Because there's three main actors, and that's a part of the criminal justice system, and we want to talk about it. So number one, we want to talk about how do you deal with racism from a cop when you know a cop is just mistreating you. It clearly seems like he doesn't like you because of who you are. You did nothing wrong, and you're confident this cop is racist. What do? So I'm assuming that you are in the middle of what is a potential crime scene, right? This is the middle of the action. You are dealing with a cop and you are experiencing racism. My advice to my clients is don't resist, don't fight. I think you want to focus on obeying the orders as much as possible, right? Within reason, but you want to try to obey the orders because if you resist, if you start cussing them out, you start acting the fool, then it gives them more reason to arrest you. But if you stay calm, you stay relaxed, you're not fazed by what they're doing, it burns them up inside because they can't do much to you, right? And so I would just comply to the best of your ability. Number two, you can always ask the officer for their badge number and for their name. They have to do that by law. They have to give you that information. So you can always ask for that, their badge number and their name. I believe it's required for them to do that. You request it. I would do that, and then I will make a formal complaint later. You can do a formal complaint for internal affairs about a particular officer. I do not think that it's a good idea that you make your fight in the street. I cannot stress that enough. Don't try to battle with the officer on the streets in the middle of it. They are the authority figure. Let's handle that in court. That's a big way of how to deal with racism from a cop. I would say try to comply, get their name and badge number, and let the two attorneys deal with them later. Secondly, how do you deal with racism from a prosecutor? We've dealt with prosecutors that, man, they offering a terrible plea. They've not offered this type of plea from another type of client, but for some reason, this client offered a terrible plea offer, and you can see the officer when he or she walks in the courtroom, this arrogance, this snugness that they are definitely racist, right? They are definitely against me because of the color of my skin. How do you deal with that? Number one, you don't, right? You let your attorney deal with that. That's why you have representation. Someone to speak on your behalf. They can take the emotions out of it. Let your attorney deal with that. And I've dealt with that, and I know I've had strategies around that. Sometimes I go over the person's head. I talk to their supervisor and prosecutor, right? But let your attorney deal with racism from a prosecutor. And then we can work together and figure out a strategy on how we can use it as an advantage for your case and hopefully get your case dismissed. So third way I want to talk to you about, which is a bigger one and a harder one to deal with, is how do you deal with racism from a judge, right? This judge, it seems like they just harsh on people who look like you. What do you do, right? And that's when you try to work with the prosecutor, right? And that's your attorney. Your attorney tries to work with the prosecutor and get you a plea deal or something that takes the matter out of the judge's hands, right? And so that's when we try to be friends with the prosecutor, right? And that's when we try to be friends with the prosecutor, and we try to get this so that, get an agreement so it's not in the judge's hands. Really, it's just the same thing when it comes to the judge. You want to make sure that you're trying to comply, you're trying to be respectful. It burns them up inside, right? When you're just respectful, you're compliant, and even when the judge is trying to tease you or trigger something in you, you remain respectful and calm and, above the fret, right? It works almost every time. You get a great result at the end, right? Your pride hurts in the moment, but you'll get a great result at the end. Judges actually are held to the highest standard of accountability as well. You can always report a judge to the bar, to the Judicial Excellence Committee. And so that's another way of how to deal with that. I wouldn't advise doing that while your case is pending. But if it does come up, and your case is done, it's over with, you can always do that. And attorneys, we also can always appeal cases. So, you want to make sure you're working alongside with your attorney if you feel like you're dealing with racism in the criminal justice system. Now, how do you deal with all three? The cop is racist, the prosecutor seems he's racist, the judge seems like he's racist, everybody seems he's racist. Well, that's when you pray to God. No, but that's when you have to make sure, which you should be doing this anyway, you are in alignment with your attorney and you're focused on the jury, right? Because you're probably going to end up taking that case to trial and you gather as much evidence as possible to show that you're being treated unfairly, and your attorney is going to be preparing the works for an appeal. And we're going to be setting a record of showing this pattern of racism so that appeals court hopefully will catch it and see that this is you being mistreated. So basically, I talked to you about how to deal with potential racism in the criminal justice system. And this is not how you deal with racism from a larger scale. It's about you, particular one person. How do you deal with racism? There's so many other ways to attack this problem. And I think that we're trying to trend in the right direction, but it definitely takes more leaders and more fair judges and more people in authority to hold people under them accountable to make sure that people aren't being racist, or just not even racism, just being mistreated. This doesn't even apply to just if you feel like racism is coming on you. This applies to people who are just feel like they're being mistreated for whatever reason. This is a good strategy on how to help you with your case when you feel like you're being mistreated. Well, again, my name is Attorney Justin Camper. I'm located right here in Northern Indiana, and we're going to be in other states very, very soon. So keep watching our videos. I work with a team of attorneys, and we work hard every single day to fight for our clients, to try to get them the best result, to try to get their cases dismissed if we can. And so if you are dealing with a case in Northern Indiana, you better not hesitate. Give me a call, give my office a call, give my attorneys a call, and we will help you fight your case and protect and defend your freedom. And as always, remember, stay legal.